Hello, everyone. Hello. Let me make sure my audio settings are correct here. All right, can you all hear me? Yes? No? Okay, thank you. I'm like, somebody needs to tell me.
Yes, we see you. I see you.
Perfect. Welcome, welcome. You're all the early folks coming into the Zoom. That's great. I'm like, this is a large class, so I'm glad there's a good number of you coming in early. So we can chat a little bit. There you go. All right. So how's the first day of the semester going?
I'm excited. I'm glad I didn't have to start too early. This is a good time for me to start class.
Oh, is this your first one for the day?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, this is a good time. It's my first one as
Yeah,
well.
Monday. Yeah. Mm.
Has anybody had earlier classes today? No, no one has like an 8 a.m., 9 a.m. What is the other one? Like 10:50? Is 10:50 is the block before right before us? No, nobody else has? You can put it in the chat. I'm sorry, my dog has decided he needs my attention. Oh, someone says 10 a.m. Yeah, so I'm like, my dogs just usually don't always make it on camera, but this is Lincoln, everyone. Oh, who's that? Oh, look, oh. You're muted, Tasha, so okay. um, Ivana says 10 a.m. So a few of you had earlier classes. So I actually have two pups. This is Lincoln, and he's the needy one.
That was Loyal. I thought I was mute. I was on mute, but his name is Loyal. Hi, Lincoln.
Saying hi.
Cutie pie.
He's like, listen, you all are taking attention away from me, and I don't like it. I have a second dog, but my other dog, Ladybird, she's so good while I'm on Zoom. She just takes a nap and doesn't interrupt.
Is Lincoln still a puppy?
No, we got him from the shelter, so I don't know exactly how old he is. We estimate 7 or 8.
Oh, okay. Loyal is a puppy, and he's so spoiled. I've only had him for a couple of months now.
Oh, okay. I'm like, this guy, when we first got him, had severe separation anxiety. So he's a Velcro dog. He's always right, baby? Although I should ask you guys, do you think he needs a groom now?
He's cute.
You can vote. Should I get him groomed or should I keep him like this for a little bit?
He looks like he's fine. I don't know. I hate when they shave them down unless it's necessary or if it's the summertime. But it's about to be cold. He might need his little coat.
That's true. Let me put him down for a little bit. What time is it? Okay, it's 12:09. And I'm like, okay, it is recording. I'll just say really quick for anybody that watching the recording that you can fast forward until you see me sharing my screen. How about the rest of you? Anyone else have pets?
Oh my God, wait a minute. I'm getting off. Say bye.
Allison has 2 cats. Very good. I used to have a cat. When I adopted her, I didn't think I was allergic to cats, and then I became very allergic to cats. But I loved my little Luna. A new kitten and a dog. Oh, new kittens. New kittens are work. And Lisbeth says 2 huskies. Ooh, huskies scare me. Not really, but they require a lot of activity. Maria, your cat got pregnant and ran away. Really? That's 3 dogs. Oh, April, I'm jealous. I want more dogs. A calico cat. Lots of kitties. A Frenchie and a Pomeranian Shih Tzu. Those are good. And a chocolate lab. One of my neighbors has a chocolate lab, and I like her a lot. But my dogs are not trained enough to be around her. Alexandra says, scratching post. Oh, I still have scratches from my cat who has passed away for almost a decade now, and I still have those scratches she would give me. Bunnies, there we go. Some non-dog or cat pets. How long do bunnies live? I know I follow a couple of people on social media who have bunnies, and I'm interested, but how long do they live? Although I'm not sure I can have bunnies because Lincoln, my dog, he likes to chase bunnies outside. So I don't know how he would feel about a bunny inside the house. Forever, really? 20 years? Oh, okay, that's a significant commitment. Although I'm hoping my dogs, make it maybe not 20, but somewhere around that time. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Let me see. So I'm looking here who all is on our Zoom. We still have 3 minutes, so I'm guessing a bunch of people will be joining like right on the dot for the time. But those of you that are coming in early, welcome. I always like to chit chat with you all before class, so I'm always in here on the class Zoom 10 minutes before the class starts. And this way I can ask you all like how the reading went, how the assignment went, things like that. And sometimes just show you the dogs or complain about something. How many of you, are any of you on campus today?
Yeah, I am.
Aha, okay, how's campus today? Because the first week of class, the traffic can be a problem, the parking can be a problem, but there's usually also a lot of activities, a nice atmosphere on the first day of classes.
Just a bunch of lost people, that's all.
Oh, some of you say, okay, lots of people today, traffic and parking were easy. See, okay, I haven't been to campus since the pandemic started, and traffic and parking are what everybody keeps telling me have actually gotten better. Hello, I'm seeing everybody's message on here. Lots of people today, yes, easy. Okay, because with more limited online classes, usually traffic on campus and parking is really difficult. I would have to come in, like for this class, for example, I would have had to be on campus 3 hours early in order to make sure I got parking. I say 6 p.m. Yeah, in the afternoon, it's and if you're going to campus in the afternoon, usually that was never a huge problem. Getting parking. It was these classes around noontime when campus really got packed, and when parking used to be impossible to find. But I'm glad to hear it's not impossible anymore. They had just built that new structure, and with more people taking classes online, I think that helps alleviate some of the pressure for the parking. Those of you who are freshmen, you don't know any of that. That's a little bit of campus history of how bad things were before the pandemic with the parking. But I'm glad to hear if you are on campus, remember that there's going to be a lot of the offices on campus that will have booths for Welcome Week out in the by the Student Center. They should be very visible, and go see all of them. They usually have very good information for you all, and I will enable the transcript. Thank you. Yeah. So about getting lost, by the way, King Hall, which is where a lot of the history, actually, just a lot of the classes are at, can be very tricky because it has these hallways like hallway A, B, C. And so give yourself enough time if you have a class in King Hall to find it. Don't be afraid of asking for help, although sometimes no one is able to help. And part of the problem is there's a basement class. And honestly, even though some of us have spent years in King Hall, we don't have the place memorized, and it can be very confusing. So just give yourself enough time and don't be afraid to ask, especially any of the department offices. Those are good people to ask for help finding a classroom.
Yeah, but all you gotta remember is if it's 3 digits, you're in the basement. 4 digits, go by the first number, tells you what floor you're gonna be on.
Aha, perfect. Okay. Thank you, Robert. That is a good trick. I did not know that one. The first time I was assigned a classroom in the basement, I struggled a little bit.
Yeah, I remember
Okay.
when I went down there looking for it. I didn't know that it was just 3 digits. The rest are all 4.
The rest are all, yes, that is true. That is true. So hi, everyone. It's 12:16, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Zoom's already recording. So if you're having trouble with the internet or anything like that, you can always come back and watch the recording. It should be up. Usually give me about 2 hours for the file to do its thing and for me to upload it. What I usually do with these recordings is I will upload them on YouTube. And that way, captions, YouTube can have its auto captions, and that way it's just easier to watch. That's what students in the past have told me. But welcome to History 2020, Recent U.S. History. With class being on Zoom, there's little chance of anybody being in the wrong Zoom link. Usually I have to tell people, if you're in the wrong class, it's okay to stand up and walk out now. But I'm glad you all found the link, and most of you I saw now have found the class website. So let's start by showing you the website, and then I'll talk a little bit about myself. Today is the easy day. You have no obligations for my class today other than showing up and absorbing as much of the information as possible. Part of the reason why I like to record on my classes, though, is that on the first day, it's a lot of information. So you retain as much as you can, but the most important things you learn today is where to find information. Because once you need it, at some point in the semester, you're going to need some of the information I'm talking about today. And you can always reach out to me, but sometimes it's just easier if you know where to get it. You can go back to the recording, watch, and get the information that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So for those, this is a lower division class. So I know I have some juniors and seniors in this class, but for those of you who are new to campus, I'm going to go through how to find your course websites. Most of your professors now will use Canvas in some way or another, sometimes very limited ways. And then there's some of us who use Canvas extensively. So if you go to your My Cal State LA, right? So let me actually just go to the Cal State LA homepage. From here, you can always find the My Cal State LA link right here. But, I have mine bookmarked, and honestly, you all should too, because you're going to spend a minimum of 4 years on campus, and you're going to use Canvas a lot. So I already have under my favorites here, Canvas is favorited, so I know how to get easy access to it. When it's not under favorites, you get this whole list of apps. And you just want to find Canvas. Starting today, you should be able to see any of your professors who are using Canvas. The website should be up. You can see here that I'm teaching these 3 classes, and I've made all 3 websites live for my students. So ours is this one. You'll be able to identify it because of this black and white image that I have there. So that's the course website. Right. Once you click on it, let me make sure I get the student view. Okay, so this is the way it looks for all of you. The way I've designed my homepage is so that you have easy access to some of the most important information. One, how to reach me. email. This is an online class, so the easiest way to reach me is via email. I'm actually not going to be on campus at all this semester unless I happen to stop by for meetings or things like that, in which case I usually, if I'm going to have on-campus office hours, I would let you know ahead of time. But I am very responsive via email, as some of you have already figured out. So if there's ever any question or you need help with anything, email is the easiest way to reach me. So if you need to find my email, it's right here on the course website. Then it's my Zoom office hours. Whenever possible, if you can come to office hours, that when you have a question or about the material or about anything else, these are also very easy places to find me because I will be on the Zoom at those times. So this semester I will be on Zoom on Wednesdays from 11 to noon. So basically before our class, right? Before our class on Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 12:15 to 1:15 p.m. These hours are the ones that work with my schedule. They might not work with your schedule. I know some of you have classes at these times and you won't be able to reach me. So I always say you can also send me an email and request an appointment with me. And usually I've never had a problem being able to, schedule a meeting with a student at some point during the week. So if you send me an email, usually I can work with your schedules, right? Most of you have already found the syllabus by clicking on resources syllabus. It'll take you to it. There it is. But also by going on the left-hand side here under modules. It's the first thing that comes up is syllabus and resources. Here's the syllabus. I'll get to the syllabus in a few minutes, but I want to walk through some of what I have here for you. Some of these basics you won't need yet. I have a rubric for how I grade essays, and most of you probably don't need a guide on Zoom anymore, but in case you need one, it's here. We're not starting any research yet, so we'll come back to this information later. I did put in here a link for a PDF, actually, for a Passion Planner. It's a planner that basically offers a free PDF to students, and so all I've done here is upload it. You should have some method of organizing your classes and your work. One of the most important things we learn in college is how to organize our time. Now, some of us will always be bad at it, but some semesters especially, it becomes really important. Is the only way to stay on top of assignments and on top of our schedules is to do it. And so this is one way of doing it that costs you nothing. Passion Planner organizes it by hour, like every 30 minutes. So you can block in like the times in which you have class or the times in which you have work or whatever family responsibilities you might have. And then you can basically see your schedule and know when you have time to study, when you have time to be preparing for things. Some of you already use Passion Planner. Okay, I'm like, Passion Planner is not paying me to promote them. The only reason why I'm putting the PDF of Passion Planner up here is because they provide a free PDF. You don't have to buy anything to use them, but you don't have to use them. I just recommend some way of organizing your time because it's really one of the keys to surviving college. Support. So please use the resources available to you via the university. That's one of the benefits of being a college student, is that you have some safety net that the college provides for you, and you are paying it via your tuition and fees, right? So one of the things that I've been trying to emphasize is that the laptop and hotspot loan program is still going on. They still have laptops and hotspots available for students. At this point, they've loaned out most of them, but they will still have some. So if you're like, you have one computer at home and it's being shared amongst different people, ask the university to loan you a laptop. Or if your internet is really slow and it's just makes attending Zoom class difficult, ask the university for a hotspot. Right? Use that. Don't be afraid to ask for it. The worst that can happen is that they say no. That's it. And they haven't been saying no to people, as far as I know, right? A couple of other things that I'll come back to throughout the semester is the Writing and Tutoring Center. We have tutors that get paid to work with you if you're having trouble in any subject, pretty much any subject. And what will be most useful for my class will be the Writing Center. You're going to have your final assignment for my class is going to be an essay. And you might need some help need somebody to look it over, and they provide really good help. Student Health Center. A lot of people don't know that they have access to free resources via the Student Health Center. If you need any kind of vaccine, any kind of basic healthcare checkup, if you're studying abroad and you need a physical, most of that stuff you can get through the Student Health Center at either low cost, and usually actually is for free. If you need birth control options, the Student Health Center has a wide variety of birth control options. They also have free condoms. They also have meditation classes. They have counselors and psychiatrists. So if you need therapy, you have access to free sessions via the Student Healthcare Center. Food pantry. One of the most horrible statistics about the Cal States is that more than half of our students are food insecure, meaning that our students are often coming to class and they haven't eaten anything. And when you're hungry, it's really hard to pay attention and it's really hard to focus on school stuff. So the food pantry, they tend to have limited hours. It's not a solution to the problem of students going hungry, but it's an option. It's an option that we have. So I always tell students to just double check which hours they are open. Like, see, they're only open Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And so if you need them, you need the help, you want to make sure you know those times. And then lastly, I put a link for, there are programs to help students who need emergency housing. Something happens, you don't have anywhere to stay the night, the university can help. They have emergency programs to help you the best that they can. And so what I'm trying to emphasize is that there are programs the university has that you're already paying for anyway. Use them if you need them, please. Right? A lot of times it's hard to ask for help, but on our campus, you need to be asking for it. Okay, so now the rest of the class website, right? One of the most important things you'll need right now is the syllabus, but then the other thing is how I've organized the course material. And the way I've chosen to do it, because that's what works with my brain, is by weeks. Right? There are 16 weeks in our semester. This is week 1. And then, I've just divided it down to week 2, week 3, week 4, right? So you'll always know what week we're in because I'll be sending out emails, and I start off class by going to the course website. John asked if this class will involve heavy note-taking. That depends. I'll get to that in a second. It's a history class. Most history classes do require heavy note-taking. But it depends, it kind of depends on you and how you best learn. So week 2, week 3, so on. I've only made the first 3 weeks live so far. I'll be making the rest of the weeks live in the next couple of days. I just didn't want to overwhelm you in week 1, but you can see what's coming up, what assignments you're going to have to complete for this class by going to the syllabus. So let's go to that now. This is the syllabus. I have it here in a Word document, but it should open up as a PDF for everyone so that you can access it from whatever device you might have. At the top here, the most important thing is really that this is an online class and that it will be synchronous, meaning that we will be meeting on a weekly basis on Zoom. So the Zooms will be live. Usually I will have some pre-recorded videos for you, but it's mostly through the online textbook. This course is U.S. history. What we mean by recent U.S. history, it's from 1877 to today. So basically from the end of the Civil War until today. That's a lot of history, okay? It's a lot of decades, a lot of information to cover. I can't possibly cover all of US history from 1877 to today. So what I've done and what every professor who teaches this course does is we choose themes. We choose themes to focus on because we can't cover every single detail. We cover things that will hopefully give you a good structure for US history. And then later on, you can go on and take an upper division history course and dig deeper into one of those themes, one of those subject matters. If you're interested in some of the details, you can look at the course description and the course objectives for that. I'll get to some of that when I get to the course schedule in a couple of minutes. The most important element is that I will require a textbook. Let me answer a question from the chat. All classes will be live on Zoom. Yes, all classes will be live on Zoom. I do record all of my Zoom sessions, and then you'll be able to find the recordings on Canvas under each week. Required text. So I didn't tell the bookstore that I had a required text. So if you go online and you check what the required text is from the bookstore, you won't find this textbook, primarily because when the bookstore buys this textbook, they add an extra charge. So it's cheaper for you all to buy it directly from the company. We have a deal with them because of the number of students that are using this textbook this semester, that it'll cost you $29.99. This is the only textbook that the only thing I'm requiring you purchase. Everything else, if there's additional readings, activities, videos, they will be provided for free on Canvas. I hate using online textbooks, but with a class where I have 125 students, it's difficult to not use one. So I'm asking you all to purchase it. The company does offer you a 2-week kind of trial period before it forces you to purchase it. So you all can go online and register, get access to the textbook now, see what it looks like without having to pay yet. Because I understand sometimes, you know, you've used up all your money for books, buying things for your other classes, and the $29.99 is just not there. Well, you have a couple of weeks until you are forced to actually purchase it. You do actually need it. I'll get to that. I'll get to it now, actually. This is what the breakdown of your grade will be. And so you can see that 35% of your grade is these online activities through the online textbook, Global Lyceum. So you cannot pass this class without completing those assignments. The rest of your grade will be for in-class activities. So when I do these live Zooms, at least once a week, I will have an activity that we do together or in groups, and that I will grade. I'll give you credit for doing it, for being here on the Zoom. Someone's asking in the chat, is there an option for renting the textbook? No, because it's an online textbook. It's not a physical book. They don't offer just rented ones. So it is. So unfortunately, you do have to pay the $29.99 for it. Yeah. I'll go over the link in a second. This is the most worrisome element, is the textbook. So yeah, I'm going to spend even a little more time now talking about it. Okay, so let me walk you through the textbook now, okay? So I say it's the Global Lyceum is the online textbook, right? So how do you get directions for how to buy it? You're like, okay, fine, you're making me buy it. How do I buy it? Go to modules and scroll down to week 1. Under week 1, I have the Global Lyceum textbook instructions right here, right? When you click on it, it's going to give you a page with the instructions. So you're going to go to their website and you need to register as a student, right? You'll need a couple of things. One of the things you'll need is this unique section number, right? But let me just walk you through it. So you go to the website for the company. Hold on, why did I get an error message? Give me a second. I do have it up here. This is what it looks like. You want to go to sign up. Once you're on the website, sign up as a student. All right, so once you start going through this, right, so don't go to sign in because you haven't created an account with them yet. You have to go to sign up as a student. You enter your email, And then it's going to walk you through the process of creating an account on the Global ICM website. Right. So at first, enter your email. It's going to ask you for a password. It will also ask you for the unique section number. Right. So, so that you register for my class and not for anybody else's. The unique section number is right here under the Global ICM textbook instructions. It's capital M 9, capital C 32, capital C 3, capital D. It's case sensitive. So you want to make sure that all those letters are capitals. I highly recommend you use your student email for it. That way the website automatically recognizes you as a university student. Yeah. One of the things that I know, if you are not used to using the CalSTAT LA, your student email, is you can have that forwarded to your Gmail or whatever email you normally use. But your school email is the best way we have, right? Your professors in the school has of contacting you. I don't have anybody's private email, so I do highly recommend you use your student email. Yeah. If you have any issues registering for the Global ICM website, the first thing I would tell you to do is to go through their support, through their help, right? Because if it's something technical, they're the ones who will be able to help you. But I would also like to know, this is the first semester that I'm using this particular textbook. And so if there are issues with using this website, I want to know, because if there's a lot of them, I'm not going to use them again, right? And also we want to get them fixed. The company has made promises to me about how easy and how helpful they are. And so I will reach out to them if there's any issue that cannot be easily resolved. Ryan, I don't know. You might be able to use your own email. That's not the CalSTAT LA one. I can't guarantee what happens at that point. That's why I'm asking you to use your CalSTAT LA email. But go ahead and try it, see what happens, and then you can tell me if it's not a problem. The most common problems with some of these textbook websites is the browser. Right. Sometimes the browser will be fine. It has no problem with you using like Safari, for example, if you have a Mac. And then all of a sudden, it will have a problem. And usually the problem is the browser. So Global ICM says that the browsers they prefer that they have the least amount of issues with Chrome and Firefox. Right? And if you don't have them already in your computer, you can't get them. You can download them for free. But yes, contact them, CC me in the email so that I know that you're having some sort of technical issue. If you want to see, before you sign up, if you want to see someone walk through the entire process, there is a video they have that shows you someone signing up for a course throughout, and shows you the whole process. Is it possible for you to sign in and show us what it looks like and where we will do our homework? So I will show you in a minute. I can't do the whole sign up process as a student because I already have an account with them as an instructor, but I will show you what the website looks like now. Right. So you do have some time, by the way. You don't have to you don't have to purchase or sign up for this website yet. I'm going to give you a couple of weeks to kind of get used to it and to do this process. Once you sign in, this is what it looks like for me. So this is not what it looks like for you. This is what it will look like for you. You'll sign in with a unique section number, and this is what you get. For students, start here. So this is just some basic information. For those of you that are already signing up for the online textbook, some of you have already purchased it or are doing it right now. This is stuff to just click on, get familiar with, things that are there for you as resources, but you don't have to do anything for students. All the readings and all the activities from this textbook, I've organized the same way I've organized my Canvas website by weeks. That way, everything will look very similar and it's organized the same way. So under week 1, for example, you'll see that I've put a couple of readings and a couple of videos, but no activities. right? For those of you that already have access to the textbook, you can click on it, play with it, get familiar with how this textbook gives you information, but you don't have anything to do here yet. You won't be tested on this. There will be no quiz, nothing related to this. I will use them in class, like, oops, excuse me. On Wednesday, when we have our first class with information in it, I might reference like the video on immigration or social Darwinism, but I already know that some of you will not have had access to the textbook yet. And so I will assume that no one has looked at this stuff, and I will go over some of that information with you all. So the unique section number, good question, is back under on Canvas, modules, week 1. And this is the unique section number. It's make sure that the letters are capitalized. It is case sensitive. And let me go ahead and put it in. Well, I'll put it in the chat in a minute because now it's I've made the chat text go away. But everything is here in Canvas. Now, this is going to be a little bit tricky for us. We're using 2 websites. We're using Canvas and we're using Global Lyceum, right? So basically the Canvas website and then the online textbook. Right now, there were some technical issues, and these 2 websites don't communicate with one another very well. They're not communicating right now. And so in order to do your homework, once you actually have activities to do on the online textbook, you're going to have to do them from the Global Lyceum website, right? So you'll have to come here, complete the activity, and you won't be using Canvas for that, right? So we'll be going back and forth. Some of the information for the class will be on Canvas, but then the reading and the activities will be on the Global Lyceum website right here, Global Lyceum. Does that make sense? Am I clear as mud? So no, okay, so most of you are getting it. There's no discount code. The bookstore code is if you went to the bookstore, if you went to on campus to the bookstore, you could buy the Global Lyceum book from them. They would give you a code. But that code that they're going to sell you is going to be more than $30. The bookstore is trying to make money, so they usually, will take whatever the textbook company is charging you, and then they add another charge. So that's why I'm telling you, don't go to the bookstore and buy the code there. The code is just the number they give you to buy an online textbook. Buy it through the website because we've negotiated with them so that it's $29.99 and not like $59.99. Sarah has an excellent question. You're already thinking about grades, Sarah. Great. So when you complete an activity on Global Lyceum, the grade will appear on Global Lyceum. I eventually need to transfer it to Canvas. So usually I'm going to ask you for about a week or 2 before that grade appears on Canvas. I just you'll understand why once I finish going through the syllabus. Okay, good. I'm going to keep going over this because I have 125 of you. So I'm just going to assume there's at least one person out there who is not really getting all of it. And if you don't get it now, don't worry. The first thing you need to do really is just sign up for an account with Global Lyceum. And with the section number, access this course website. That's it. Right now, week 1, all you need to do is sign up for this online textbook and get access to the class material. That's it. I will walk you through everything every week. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Normally this class, even when it's in person, it can have up to 125 people, and then we'd be in one of those big lecture halls. So this is not abnormal. But all right, week 1, I put some readings in there. Again, you don't have to read anything yet. I'm going to give you time to access the website. I'm gonna show you ahead though. Week 2, I will be doing the same thing. I have a couple of readings in there and a video, but I'm not requiring that you complete any assignment there yet. At the end of week 3 is when you will finally have an activity to complete. Right? And this is how it will look for you, right? There's a reading, American Imperialism, 1870 to 1920. And then there's 2 activities. You'll see one, it says activity, Chinese immigration, and activity, ethnic enclaves. And these activities, this is how they'll look for you. They're going to give you some reading and maybe a video to watch. Then there's going to be a primary source for you to analyze. And then finally is the actual activity you do. Most of these activities are going to require you to either write 1 paragraph, write 2, 3 paragraphs as a response, or to complete a chart, right? So for example, ethnic enclaves, this is one of the activities for week 3, has you complete this chart. Right. Again, don't worry about it yet. This is gonna be due week 3. We're not there yet. But just for those of you that are already on there, you'll be able to see ahead and see these. Now, starting today, you can see all the activities that I've chosen that you will complete. If you are like, oh yeah, I took AP US history, this is gonna be easy peasy, I wanna get ahead, I wanna complete assignments now, you could go in and complete assignments now. I don't know why you would, but you can always work ahead on the Global ICN website. And always work ahead. Okay, internet is low. Okay, so people are asking a few things on the chat. So it's asking for a student ID. Those of you that have already signed up, it's asking for your CIN then, your student ID number? Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. I will add that on the instructions. So when it asks you for student ID, it is your CIN. So your student ID number. When it asks for the course section, it's this one. I'm going to put it in the chat. Make sure I can send it to everybody. There it is. So this is the main thing that for the first 2 weeks, I'm going to be telling you, all right, when you get a minute, go create an account on this website and access the textbook. But nothing due yet. Nothing due yet. So let's go back to the syllabus. Like I said, you do need, this is obligatory. Unfortunately, I'm making you use this online textbook. 35% of your grade was going to come from these online activities. It's based on primary source analysis. Anyone who did AP US history, it's that kind of what do they call it in AP US history? I forget now, but it's the kind of work you're used to doing in AP US history. For those of you that didn't take AP US history in high school and have not taken a college history course so far, I'm going to be walking you through it. I don't just throw you into the deep end of the pool and ask you to swim. We learn strokes first. We learn how to read sources. We learn then how to analyze them, how to write about it. That's going to be the prep work we do in the first 2 weeks. It's just some basics on doing that. Right. You will have a midterm and a final exam. For people that want to know what those are, under the course requirements, I did a quick summary of what the midterm and the final exam will look like. They're not going to be exams. The midterm is going to be a project you do in a group of 4, where you create videos on a civil rights history topic. So that you will work in a group of 4 to complete. And the final exam is a take-home essay, in which I'm going to ask you to compare 2 documents, the 1619 project and the 1776 commission report. If you don't know what those are, don't worry, we will get to know those 2 documents really well. But again, this first week, we're going to take it easy, right? The first couple of weeks, we're just going to get into the routine of what I'm going to be asking you to do this semester in my class. For students with disability, so for like the online activities, when there are accommodations, it's really easy for me to add accommodations. If you've already have accommodations that are registered through the OSD office, the Office for Students with Disabilities, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to tell me anything. They contact me. Right. But if over the course of the semester, you end up signing up with the OSD office and you want quicker access, usually they communicate with me and you don't have to do any of that communication. But if there's ever any issue, you can talk to me. You can send me an email, meet me at office hours privately, and I'm happy to add accommodations. Sequoia, can you do that group project on your own? Technically, yes, but you're getting ahead of yourself. Okay, Jacob. Yeah, I see. This is why I'm recording the class. I know some of you will have a little bit of lag with the video. Okay, classroom protocol. These are the things that you want out of the syllabus. Basically, my approach, what I expect from you in this class, and what you can expect from me. Right. So there are 125 of you. I am assuming that most of you have used Zoom now. But I'll walk you through some features starting on Wednesday, like, how to raise a hand on Zoom. We'll mainly be using that feature because if there's like 5 people that want to talk at once, then we want to go in some order. Usually in a smaller class, I just ask you to unmute your mic and talk. You don't need to raise your hand. In a class of 125, I don't know how hard that will be. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see how many of you are chatty and how many of you are not. The class started at 12:15. But if you missed anything, those of you that came in late, I'm recording this, so you'll be able to go back and watch. The main thing I ask in terms of like what you share and how you all treat each other is that it be with respect. We don't make fun of people. We can tell people they're wrong. We can tell people we disagree with them, but that we don't cross any lines of disrespect. That way everybody feels safe talking to each other. I want you all to be able to share your personal experiences because a lot of times they'll be very relevant. I'll be sharing a lot of my personal experiences starting on Wednesday, right? We're going to talk about, for example, how we define race in history, right? And that's going to get personal. And this needs to be a space where anybody can share their opinion. Assume protocol. So see, I already see. So most of you don't have your cameras on. That's fine. I'm not going to force you to turn your cameras on, although I like seeing at least some faces. So thank you, Robert. But see, we can see via Robert's website that he's on campus. There's people walking in the background. If he turns on his mic, we'll be able to hear all the background noise in it.
Yeah, this is King's Hall right here. So
there we go.
King's Hall.
So you're right. I know exactly where you're at.
You just got too high with my last seat.
And Emily, I see you just turned on, and a couple of other people now just turned on your cameras. And see, some of you are on campus or are in public spaces with masks on. I have no expectations about what's in your background. In the past, I've had people that their family are in the will walk by while we're on Zoom, and I'm like, "Hi, mom, hi, dad." Not a problem at all. Those of you that are parents, if a child is home, the child is home. What are you going to do? Nothing. So I'm like, don't be afraid of turning your camera on. You're seeing my office at my house. You're going to see my dogs. From time to time, you might hear my dogs. It's totally fine. Emily is at every table. Oh, I miss every table. It's one of the things I miss about campus. Alejandra asked a really good question. I'm not ignoring you, Alejandra. I'm just going to get to it in a second. Because I know that some of you are parents, or and even those of you that might not be parents, you have family responsibility. Some of you are responsible for taking care of your siblings, your cousins, whatever. So that should not be a problem here. Like if you have to have people around you while you're doing class, I'd much rather you attend class than not, right? When I do classes in person, I say bring. I've had students who bring their kids to class, and I'm like, yeah, it's not a permanent like childcare solution, but I'm like, bring them to class when you have to. Communication. I already told you email is the easiest. Email and office hours are the fastest way to get a hold of me. From time to time, a student will tell me that they emailed me, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what happened. So I tell students, I usually respond quickly, but give me 48 hours. If in 48 hours I haven't responded to your email, it means I didn't get it. For whatever reason, I didn't get it. So resend it. Usually you want to check that you spelled the email correctly, and tell me, put follow up in the subject heading of your email so that I know you've already tried to reach me once, and I will give your email priority over all other emails in my inbox. I do like formal email etiquette. Like I like when there's a greeting. Hello, Professor Cardona. But I've given up on expecting that from students that are, you Gen Zers. I've given up. You all use email like it's text message. Fine. At least I require a couple of things. One, give me full sentences. I'm a geriatric millennial. Okay. If it's not LOL and ASAP, I don't know what it means. Tell me full sentences. And tell me your name. Oh, for the love of God, tell me your name. At minimum, I need to know who is sending me an email so that I know what class you're in and I know how to respond to your question. Okay, this semester, I'm teaching all US history classes. So you can't tell me you're in my US history class. You can tell me that you're in History 2020, or you can tell me you're in my Monday, Wednesday class. Anything like that will work. But give me your name and tell me what class you're in. Most important things. How to refer to me. This is important. For those of you who are freshmen, this is your first semester, maybe your first class of the semester. The seniors can help you. What's the safest thing to call your professors?
My favorite is doctor.
Yes, and that's my favorite too. If you can call me, I do have a PhD. So the appropriate title is doctor. But not all your professors have PhDs. Some of them only have their masters or are working on their masters. What do you call
I've
that?
only had a PE teacher though. They had a master's. Everybody else got a PhD. Matter of
That's
fact,
true.
and a JD.
Perfect. And that it's pretty safe at Cathedral to just call your professors doctor, and then the last name. But you can also use professor. Professor and their last name is safe. Yes, Tasha got it. Professor usually works. It works great. Nobody can fault you for calling somebody professor. I always tell students, if you are asking me to do something for you, right? If you need extra time on something, you need me to do something, and you really want to butter me up, use doctor. The number of Latina women with PhDs is really low. It's something like 5%. And only like 3% of them have job security. So I'm really proud of the fact that I have a PhD. And so I'm like, my siblings won't call me Dr. Cardona, but you all can call me Dr. Cardona. Late work and attendance. Okay. I know you're all very concerned with these two things, right? And I'll stop sharing to talk about this. You can read it from the syllabus yourselves, but can you pass this class without coming to every live Zoom? Yes, I'm realistic. I've had students who do it. Because I'm recording every Zoom class. So if you actually watch the recordings, you will get the information you need. I like to be very direct on Zoom and tell you, like when I'm giving directions for an assignment, I tell you exactly what you need. Like I hate it as a student. I hated it when they would just tell us to do the assignment. I was like, okay, but how? And once I'm reading the instructions, looking at the assignment, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm very direct. So I tell students, if you're going to watch the recordings, then yes, you can pass this class without attending every Zoom. But because this is a lower division history class, most of you are not history majors. Most of you don't even like history. I highly, highly encourage you to come to Zoom because we're going to be doing a lot of hands-on work on Zoom, talking about the material, talking about the primary sources, and that it helps to talk to other people about it. It just helps. To encourage that, I'm going to be doing in-class activity. So I'm going to give you credit for every time we do an activity in class, every time we read a source in class, anytime we have a conversation in class. I'm going to give you credit for that via in-class activities. And those are worth 20% of your grade. Now, if you missed it, for whatever reason, I don't even care why you missed it. You could have missed it because you slept in. You can submit in-class activities late, essentially, because in the recording, you're going to get the instructions of what the activity is. As long as you can get that into me via email or via Canvas, I will accept that. Right? And part of it is, honestly, the pandemic has forced us to do this, and I think it's a really good thing. Right? Made us professors much more flexible. I don't want to do away with that because one of you could get sick with COVID during the course of the semester. And my God, if you get sick, don't come to class. What the studies all show is that people that rest while they're sick with COVID recover faster and are less likely to get long COVID. Rest is really, really important. So I don't want you doing classwork while you're sick, especially if you're sick with COVID. Right? I learned this the hard way. 3 years ago, before the pandemic, so 3.5 years ago, I got laryngitis one semester. I got it around week 5, and I taught most of the semester with laryngitis. So I was talking like that. And it was one of the worst decisions I've ever made. It took me longer to recover because I was working while being sick. And so I've become very much an advocate of no. Your health is the priority. If you're not healthy, the rest of it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Isabella asked a great question. I'm not ignoring it either. Isabella, group projects. Group projects will all right, in class, they will not, wait till I give you the instructions on the group project. But most of the group project, like the midterm, will probably be outside of class. But in class, when we do group projects in class, those are important to get to know each other, right? In a class of 125 students where it's all online, it's hard to get to know other people. And that's one of the ways you get to know other people. Oh, my dear, that is unfortunately not abnormal thing. I don't believe in that. I'm making you all work or through sickness. I don't anymore. And that will never be me ever again. Late work. Okay, I'm going to share my screen because this is really important. From time to time, you will be sick, or sometimes just something happened. Sometimes there's a week in which I've had students who have 3 different essays due the same weekend. And if you're not good at time management and you don't plan ahead well enough, and you have to write 3 essays in one weekend, it's not impossible, but for most people, it's very hard. So I for the last 3 years, I've been using this, the life happens clause. I used to call it the shit happens clause, but students were like too timid to use the word shit. So, even though this is college, we can say the word shit in class. But the Life Happens class means that for any assignment in this class, all you have to do is email me and tell me that you want to use the Life Happens class, and I will give you 3 extra days to submit the assignment, no questions asked. You don't have to tell me that you're having a nervous breakdown. You don't have to tell me that you are terrible at time management. You don't have to tell me that you're sick, that somebody in your family is sick. You don't have to tell me anything. If all you need is a couple of extra days to complete the assignment, I'd rather you just take the extra days and complete the assignment. Right? Gilberto asking another great question. Can you use it on the final? Depends when our final is. But yes, typically yes. Unless our final exam is like on Friday, then it depends when I have to submit grades. But yes, you can use it on any assignment. You can use it for any Global Lyceum assignment. The only thing with Global Lyceum is that for Global Lyceum, I have to go in and give you individually extra days to complete it. I might figure out an easier way of doing that, but with Global Lyceum, it's going to get tricky, but you do have the extra days, and I can go in and manually give you extra time on any Global Lyceum assignment. So yes. I'm saying it's with Global Lyceum, it's tricky because of how the system works, but also because I have 125 of you. It's a lot of grading for me, right? All the activities on Global Lyceum are assignments that require you to write something. So they're not automatically graded by the system. They're not quizzes, right? They're not automatically graded. So usually I like to give students like, all right, if you did no Global Lyceum activity the whole semester, I'm like, you can try to catch up at the end of the semester. I don't recommend it, but I will accept late work. With Global Lyceum, I won't be able to. I'm going to have to set some deadlines, right? So somewhere around the midterm, I'm going to say like, okay, weeks 1 through like 10. If you don't submit anything before the midterm, you're going to get a 0, and you're not going to be allowed to submit those activities late. Right? I am going to have a TA. I have a master's student that has been assigned to our class to help us. And I'm only going to have her grade some of a lot of the Global Lyceum activities, right? But I will also be grading some of them. So I know exactly what the activity is. I know how she's grading them. I know all of that. So if there's ever a grade issue, like you don't even need to know her name. You send me an email if there's a problem with the grade or if you need extra time in an activity, and I handle all of that. Right, but I will have a little bit of help with grading from a teaching assistant. Tasha, I'm with you, Tasha. I'll be fully honest. All of you seem worried about the group assignment. I hate group assignments because you always get a group that's like nobody wants to work, or it's hard to find a time for everybody to meet. But I've had a couple of professors, a couple of colleagues give really good reasoning for group assignments. And it is a good way to learn from your classmates. Now, if you get stuck in a group where, people don't want to do the work, then it really, really sucks. That's why I'm going to give you the option. If you really I cannot work with other people, I'll give you the option of doing a version of it by yourself. But what the midterm is going to be is creating videos, like I said. So you will be able to divide the work up so that the amount of time you'll have to spend communicating with each other can be limited. I'm hoping to make things a little bit easier that way.
Yeah, the professors always have a good reason why we have to do a group. And I've been in college for a minute now, and I've done a couple of group projects that's come out really great. And I feel like someone done more work than others, but it's okay.
But it's still a pain in the butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally sympathize. Yes. So it's been a while since I've done one. So if they go by the way, if they're totally awful, if we all have a terrible time with these group assignments, I will never do them again. Because I'm like, because I hated them as a student, so I try not to do things I hate as a student. But also as a professor, I'm like, I need to try different methods. Okay, people learn in different ways, and so that's, I have a reasoning. But someone was going to say something.
Doing videos doesn't sound too hard, but when you have to do a written assignment and citing resources and other things that goes along with an essay, and people don't want to contribute, and it's part of your grade, is very frustrating.
Yeah,
I'm not a last minute person, so I don't like to wait to the last minute and start rushing. Ooh, it's hard, but it's part of college, and I've learned to accept it.
Yep, that's the way it goes. Okay, fun stuff. What stuff we're gonna learn in this class. And let me tell you, I fell in love with history when I was in 7th grade. So I'm like a weirdo because like my whole life I've known how much I love history, and have basically my whole life was geared towards doing what I do now, teach history. But I really, really do love it. And I think those of you who don't, it was probably, I'm like, I hate to put it this way, but I usually blame your history teachers. If somebody tried to make you memorize a bunch of dates and a bunch of names, and now you hate history. And I'm like, we're not going to do that. One, because whenever you need to look up a date, if you need the date of when something happened or the name of someone, it's Googleable. You can just type it into Google. Also, I'm terrible with dates and with names. I mean, I know a lot of them now. I have them memorized, but I'm terrible with them. So I never ask you to memorize those things. History is about change over time, how things have changed. And it's about comparing and contrasting ideas, movements, people. Right? So you'll notice I have a lot of things in our schedule under topics. You'll see a lot of stuff about race. You cannot teach American history without teaching history of race in this country, especially because we're starting our class immediately after or right after the Civil War with Reconstruction. Can you tell the history of the US without talking about race at all? Yes, because that's how it used to be taught. That's how it used to be taught, just the history of white people in the US. But that's a very incomplete version of history. It's just that, it's incomplete. Right, so this class will focus a lot on topics of race and ethnicity, and also a lot of health topics. My area of expertise is abortion movements. I wrote my dissertation on the abortion movement in France during the 60s and 70s with a lot of comparisons to the US and other places in Europe and Latin America. I do a lot with health. So you'll notice we'll do a lot with health. And so race, gender, class, those are all important themes within history. So on Wednesday, we're going to talk about how we define these topics, because if we don't have a definition of them, it's hard to talk about them. Then we're going to talk about Reconstruction in the US, right? What happened? Because there was this moment after the Civil War where things could have been so different. There was this moment of hope where we elected the first African-American senator, people got elected to be state representatives, mayors, all these other roles. And then all of it disappeared, and we went into a period of Jim Crow in which segregation was extreme. Right, so we need to talk about what was happening at this time. Like, why did this happen the way it did? We're also going to talk about immigration. When we are talking about the 1800s, right, we're starting with 1877, we're talking about a period of increased immigration to the United States. So we're going to talk about starting with Chinese immigration to the United States. And also this is a major part of California history and of explaining why our world, right, where we live in California, in Los Angeles, in Southern California, why it looks the way it is, why there's a Chinatown, right, all comes back to the 19th century and these waves of immigration from places like China, and then the reaction against that, those waves of immigration. Right? But we're also going to talk about, all right, this movement towards living in cities, urbanization, industrialization. These were all things that are happening at the same time, right? We're going to talk about as that is happening, right? As new immigrants are coming to this country, as people are moving to cities and working in factories, What is happening to indigenous populations? In our Constitution, women did not have the right of citizenship. They don't have the right to vote. How did that change? Then the global World War I and World War II. World War I and World War II dramatically changed things, legally, socially, politically. These moments of global war allow for things to change. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on military history in this class, but we're going to talk a lot about how war can create opportunities at the same time that there's global, it's a global death. People are dying. We're going to talk about housing, the Great Migration, redlining, the Depression, but also unionization, Cesar Chavez, Filipino farm workers, anti-communism, and then the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, and how that is connected to the Brown Power movement, the Red Power movement, to different race and ethnicities, how race and ethnicity comes to the forefront during the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement. We're going to talk about eugenics, birth control, abortion. Some of these things you might look at and you're like, ooh, controversial, but we're not going to, you can take politics out of it, but we're going to look at how these topics have a history. They have a history. And when we discuss them today, we oftentimes, the way people discuss them, people forget that there's a long history for all of these things. Your teachers, Eric, didn't speak about, we will speak about Malcolm. You can't talk about the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement without Malcolm X. So we will do a lot of Malcolm X. And then we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter and about policing. That has a long history too. And we live in a state, in a county, in Los Angeles County, that has a long history of policing and violence against certain communities being an issue. So we need to understand what that history is if we have any shot at understanding why things are a problem today, why some people are organizing, right? Why some people view certain things as a problem. You need to understand the history, right? And that's like the key. One of the things that I think the pandemic has taught us all, hopefully, is how important history is to trying to understand our present and even our future, right? There are clear patterns in history that can give us a guide. They're not a magic ball. They don't tell us what exactly is going to happen, but they give us a guide as to the way people behave and where we might be going, right? Some of the things we're going to cover are very controversial, and you're allowed to disagree with me. You're allowed to disagree with the textbook. You're allowed to disagree with each other, right? I always say that in history, there are things that happened, right? Certain things happen. But history is the stories we tell about what happened. That means the analysis, how we analyze the things that happen, can vary. Who we are impacts the way we view history, right? I don't want to talk about my race yet because I'm going to use that as an example on Wednesday. But I, as who I am, has a very direct effect on, how I approach history. Most of the time, it helps me. It helps me view history in a different way. Sometimes, though, our own history, our own background can create blinders, right? It doesn't allow us to see the full picture. And that's where it's important to hear each other and to talk to one another about our different perspectives on it, right? So I always emphasize that I don't need you to regurgitate my opinions. The goal is for you to have your own opinions. If you understand the history well enough, you will have your own opinion on it. And ultimately, I don't care what your opinion is as long as you have an informed, right, an educated opinion. Right? And understanding that as I'm teaching this US history class, as you're taking this US history class, there are legislators who are trying to legislate and create laws about how we teach US history in K through 12 schools, even at university levels. Those are more tricky, but K through 12, they're trying to create laws about how US history is taught. School boards are deciding what teachers are allowed to teach and what they're not. So it is political. The whole thing is political. That might make it a little bit tricky, but it also is, to me, it highlights how important history is, because ultimately it is about who we are as a community and how we see ourselves. Eric says, like critical race theory. Oh, I was wondering how quickly somebody was going to bring up that phrase. I won't get into. I'll get into it on Wednesday. That phrase, critical race theory. As a historian, I have a lot of thoughts on that phrase, but also it's just a phrase that politically has a meaning today. So I don't think we can get away. I don't think it's fair to try to teach or learn U.S. history right now without understanding the way politicians are using it. Whether you agree or disagree with the politicians, you have to understand it, because it's impacting the way we teach and learn it. Okay, that is most of my spiel for today. Questions, what are the most pressing things you're worried about? Not much yet. Okay. I'm going to give people a second to think of things, but remember, we're going to start with material on Wednesday, right? Defining race and ethnicity on Wednesday. But really the main thing to do is to sign up for the Global Lyceum website. You have a little bit of time, but I want you to start getting familiar with the website and the way the material is organized there. So signing up for it, you don't have to pay right away. They give you a 2-week trial period. So all you have to do is sign up for it without paying them anything. If money is an issue right now, let's worry about it later after the trial period is over. All you need to do is sign up to get access to it. Evangelina is asking, is the final going to be an essay? It is. It's an essay you work on your own, talking about the 1619 project and the 1776 report. Don't worry yet. I will show you the prompt. I will give you that prompt way ahead of time. So what readings should you have due for Wednesday? Okay, that's an excellent question. There are 3 things I have on the Global Lyceum website. Let me go to it. There are 3 things I put in there. I put a short reading under week 1. I put an introduction to this time period, 1877 to 1914, and 2 videos. These are really short videos, by the way. They're like 3-5 minutes. Just like defining terms. What do we mean when we talk about immigration in this time period? What is social Darwinism? They're really, really short. But if there's any tech, because some people will have technology issues, this is not, there's no activity, no assignment associated with this stuff. So I put it there for you to start getting used to how the website presents material, but there's no homework assigned to it. Right? For the upperclassmen, the juniors and seniors, basically you don't have to do anything for Wednesday. The freshmen, I can tell them, read that page and watch the 2 videos, and they'll actually do it.
Wait a minute, I will too.
Okay, good. Okay. I'm like, I've been around enough juniors and seniors to know how you all think.
Oh, I have never been late on one of my homeworks. They give me a week, it'll be done the next day.
Oh, well, see, Robert, you're setting a good example for the rest of them. So, okay.
I'm majoring in political science, but to go to law school, you don't got 3-4 days to sit back and, I'll do it later. No.
Yeah. So those of you, by the way, that are poli-sci majors, I think will enjoy this class. Those of you that are English majors will enjoy this class. And hopefully a bunch of others of you will also enjoy it. Usually I'm like, I bet I can get you to like one aspect of history. But with 125, I'm not sure I can guarantee anything. Yeah, Madia, the website does have an audio file attached, so you can actually listen to the textbook. Yes. Oh, criminal justice people will like this class too. Because we do a lot of that. Oh, how could I forget the sociology majors? It overlaps so much. The whole race and ethnicity thing, the gender thing, the sociology, the ethnic studies majors. The rest of your majors. I'm like, even the music majors. We're going to talk a little bit about jazz. Okay, you're all free to go. You can log off and I will see you back on Zoom on Wednesday. Yes? Have a good rest of your day. Biochemistry. Ooh, you biochem majors have so much work to do. Not in my class, in your bio and chemistry classes. Have a good day. Yes. Good luck finding all the rooms you have to be at, those of you that are in person. Bye. Bye. Have a good rest of your day. Any questions, concerns? Nope. Like, I'm just waiting in case there's anybody with a question or concern. All right, logging off then.